Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are having a good day so far. So in this video today we'll be talking about for loops. So for loops that allows us to do a lot of things in JavaScript, and it's one of the fundamental things you must learn in JavaScript before you move on. So let's cover what it is in this video. We use it whenever we want to run the same code a certain number of times with a different value every single time. And if you're still confused as to what I mean, first let's just try an example. So I'll type for. That's how you start a for loop. For, a set of parentheses, and inside the parentheses we'll do var I. So we're setting a variable I to 0. We can set it to whatever value you want. I'm just doing 0 since arrays are 0 indexed, as you guys have learned in previous videos. So the first thing we do is initialize our loop, and the second thing we do is give it a conditional statement. So while I is less than 10, we're going to do I plus plus, so it's going to increment I by 1. So if the loop successfully completes, then it's going to loop again and again until I is no longer less than 10. And then following these set of parentheses are a set of curly braces. And now inside of this we can do whatever we want. I'll just do console.log I. And now if we check in our console, we should see that it printed out 0 to 9. So let's see if we were right. Okay, it's not printing out anything because we haven't. Okay, let's try opening up a live server for this again. And now if we check into our console one more time, so it just printed out 0 all the way to 9. That's how for loops work. It allows us to print out multiple things by just typing lesser codes. So if we wanted to, we could have done console.log 0 and then console.log 1 and console.log 2, and you get the idea. We could have just done that until we got into 9, but for loops, they allow us to do that in much lesser and cleaner code. And the next example I want to show you is I'll create a function and then I'll create an array. Well, first, actually, I'll just create an array. So var r equals, I'll just pass in a bunch of random values, maybe even my name, maybe some booleans, and some undefined, and null, and maybe 6. So now we'll call a function that says, I don't know, analyze. So it will just analyze our array. And then for its 2 parameters, I just want to pass in an array and then the value that we are looking for in the function. So we can do if r I, actually no, I'm wrong. We have to create a for loop first. So for var I equals 0, that's how we initialize our for loop, and then give it a conditional statement while I is less than r dot length. So while I is less than however long our array is, that's why we said dot length, then we're just going to increment it by 1, so I plus plus. So now it's saying for var I equals 0, I is less than r dot length, I plus plus. So if the loop successfully completes itself, then it will repeat itself again until it's no longer no longer less than array dot length. Now what we want to do is create an if statement and say if r I is equal to value, then we want to return we'll just return console.log the value exists in the array. And then instead of doing else, we'll just do return console.log the value does not exist in the array. So basically what this is saying is it's going to look for whatever value we passed in, and if that value exists, if that value is included in our array, then it's going to return console.log the value exists in the array. But if it doesn't exist, then it's going to return this. So now let's test it out and see if it works or not. So I'll type the name of our function, which is analyze, and then a set of parentheses, and inside of here I'll just pass in my array, which is this variable right here. It might be confusing to you guys since the name of the variable and the parameter are the same thing, but this is referring to this, not this. And then I'll just pass in 5. So now if we check our console, oh wait, we should have done console, yes, never mind. So now if we check our console, we should see that the value does not exist in the array. That's because 5 does not exist in the array. It's not part of the array. Only these values in here are part of the array. So if I try changing this to my name, so I'll just type Kenny. Now it's going to say the value, wait, refresh. It shouldn't be working that way. It should say true. But anyways, let's forget about that. It should be working, but I don't know why it's not working. So another thing that you can do with for loops is you can loop through an array. So we can do var array equals dogs, cats, 1, 2, 3, 4, computers, and keyboards. And then we can call a for loop and give it a variable of I. That's how we initialize the for loop. And then while I is less than array.length, I++. And the reason why I keep saying array.length instead of however long the array is, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if we said if I is less than 8 instead of saying array.length, if we did I is less than 8 and then we added another element onto the array, then it's not going to include all the elements because there's not 8 elements in the array anymore. There's going to be 9. So if I added something like ice cream, now the length of the array is going to be 9, so it's going to be leaving out this right here. It's going to leave that out instead of including all of this. That's why it's safest to do array.length unless you know for sure you're not going to append any more elements onto the array. And we can do console.log array I. So pause the video and try to guess what it's going to console.log. I'll give you guys 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Were you able to guess what it was going to console.log? If so, great. But now let's reveal the answer. So if we check in our console, it basically printed out each item in the array, starting from 0 and all the way to array.length, which was 8. And that's basically how for loops work. So in this video, I just showed you some basic examples you can use for loops with, but it's a lot more complicated than this. I'm just getting you started with for loops and how it works. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more coding tutorials, go check out my channel. And other than that, I hope you guys have a nice day and see you again in my next video.